Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's head to the NBA, where Ty Lue reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal to become the Clippers' head coach. Lue was an assistant under Doc Rivers for the team that blew a 3-1 series lead to the Nuggets. Lue coached LeBron James to 3 straight finals appearances in Cleveland, winning it all in 2016, but he turned down a reunion last offseason. Check out this theory on his decision from The Ringer. Perhaps Lue saw the long play to the Clippers' head coaching position by starting there as an assistant. Perhaps he thought he'd bide his time until a better, more lucrative job opened up elsewhere. Whatever the case, he essentially turned down a chance to coach LeBron and win another ring to now take a job with somehow even bigger stakes. I'm not buying it. Marcellus, though,
a lot of that.
Please explain to me which job has higher stakes from a coaching theory?
Okay.
The Clippers or coaching LeBron?
Oh, it's coaching the Clippers. Absolutely. Not even a conversation. But we're going to have one because you like to do this. Which one has higher stakes? It's the one that has greater risk. And if you think about greater risk, let's go to Vegas, you gambler. I heard about you.
I be gambling.
I'm at the club.
I be gambling.
You over there on the tables.
All day.
All right. Well, I'm on my 3rd bottle, and you over there running up to the room trying to get more money back from all the money you're losing. Here's the thing. When you talk about greater risk, you have to look at what you're betting on. You get the greatest odds when you take the greatest risk. And that's what Ty Lue has done with the coaching of the Clippers. Here's how I could phrase it. Ty Lue is going to a situation where no one has ever won. No one ever, no matter who you're talking about, even championship coaches like Doc Rivers have not won. But now you have to win. Versus coaching the Lakers right now, well, you're supposed to win. We're the Lakers, and we have LeBron, and we just won. But if you don't, you'll be all right. Why? Because coaches have not always won with LeBron and been all right. Who did LeBron just play against in the finals? Eric Spoelstra. Did they win every year LeBron was there? Oh, no, they did. Did they win even 75% of the time? No, they only won half of the times. But Eric Spoelstra was still there. How about Ty Lue? Did he die when LeBron didn't win? No. He won once with him in a half-shortened season, him and David Blatt sharing that. Then after that, Ty Lue lost twice, and then LeBron left, and Ty Lue was still there for 5 days. But the point of it is, you don't always have to win when you're with LeBron. It seems that way. I know it bucks conventional wisdom, and I know you're over there Googling right now because you can't believe I'm just dropping these jewels. But the reality is you're going to a situation where it's barren land. You know, on the way to Vegas, all that, we see nothing out there that is growing, no vegetation. And they're expecting you to make a crop overnight. That, to me, sounds like more pressure, more risk, and that's what Ty Lue stepped in.
Sir, it's obviously LeBron. Coaching LeBron is significantly more pressure, and here's why. What we know about LeBron James is the last decade, wherever LeBron goes, he will go to the finals. Regardless of who he is with, wherever he goes, he will go to the finals.
True.
If you coach LeBron James and you do not go to the finals, therefore we know it's not LeBron's fault. Because where LeBron goes to the finals. So if you show up, Marcellus, and you start coaching the Lakers next year, Lakers don't go to the finals, you were the variable. Because LeBron was fixed. You were the variable. So if the Lakers don't go to the finals, it is on you as the new coach as why they didn't go. It's not on LeBron. It's on you, the head coach. You say that pressure comes down to risk. The riskier situation is coaching LeBron James, because we know that if you coach LeBron, you better go to the finals. Now, I'm just hit you with a quick uppercut. Let me come back with this left hook.
Oh, I could die.
Think about this. When you are associated with LeBron James, it sets up the rest of your career. Mike Brown coached LeBron early on in his life. Mike Brown won a Coach of the Year. Mike Brown without LeBron James, Who that? LeBron James with Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra was looking like one of the greatest coaches of this generation because he was with LeBron James. LeBron James with Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel in Coach of the Year conversations wins the title his first year as coach. But don't worry about what I'm saying. Let's look at the LeBron James effect. Full screen, please. Look at these guys with LeBron James. I gave it some of it as coaches. Just digest it. LeBron with Mike Brown, significantly higher winning percentage. Spoelstra, one of the greatest coaches right now. But without LeBron, he only wins 50% of the time. With LeBron, 70%. Frank Vogel, look at what he does. I say that to say, no need for the full screen. I say that to say, Marcellus, I end my first lap. When you're with LeBron James, you have to win.
Yeah.
You're expected to win.
Yeah.
You will win. So if you now coach him and don't win, it's all on you. We don't have to figure out what the problem was. It wasn't chemistry. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. It wasn't luck. It wasn't fate. It wasn't fortune. It was you, the coach.
Yeah, look, I'm not mad at that. That's not cooking the books right there. It is omitting that most of the great players stayed in their same position, same place of location, and had the same coach. Let's go Pat Riley with Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, basically. Phil Jackson, you talk about Jordan, you talk about Kobe, everybody, Shaq. And let's go right now. Steve Kerr, when you're with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. What are they without those guys? We don't even have evidence.
What are those coaches with that?
Yeah, what are those coaches without those guys? So that's the full screen we'll never see, but the one we have to consider. I give you this proposition. I ask you a question. If Ty Lue doesn't win the championship next year, what Steve Ballmer expectations? You know who Steve Ballmer is, right? The richest owner in sports. He has reset the expectation with the Clippers. If he doesn't win, what do you think happens to Ty Lue? He becomes Chauncey Billups. Okay, but if Frank Vogel doesn't win next year, after already having the equity of winning the championship, what happens to Frank Vogel? You think he's gone? No, I don't think he's gone. That right there, that hair splitting is what I'm trying to highlight. I'm not saying that both of these are not hypercritical situations where you're going to be under the microscope, but it seems like now, because the Clippers used to have stability, but they also have futility. And now Steve Ballmer walked in there and is like, look, I have purchased everything. I can't buy a championship, but whoever I employ has to deliver on this purchase. And that's why I think it's different.
Let's talk about this then for a second.
Okay.
The Clippers were embarrassed, if we can be real, blowing a 3-1 series lead to
again.
They were embarrassed again. We talked about that for a week. At the most, we talked about it for a week. Marcellus, we still, to this day, and will forever, talk about LeBron James losing to the Mavericks. Still, and will forever. The Clippers blew a 3-1 lead. We're just like, man, Clippers blew a 3-1 lead. Some of us were surprised. Some of us weren't. Some of us were like, that's what the Clippers do. Others were like, wow, I can't believe that happened. We still and forever will talk about LeBron James blowing it to the Mavericks when they did have a lead, although it was just 2-1, and although they were the heavy favorites. Clippers, we don't really care. Coaching LeBron James, it's just different because the eyes are on you always and forever, and it will be etched in history. Ain't nobody talking about the Clippers losing 3-1 to the Nuggets, not at all. But we forever talk about LeBron James coming back down 3-1 to the Warriors. Now, they're extenuating circumstances. Greatest Warriors team of all time. It happened in the finals as opposed to the semis. But we will talk about that forever. Coaching LeBron is just, it's probably the most pressure in sports because you're coaching the most in American sports because you're coaching the most highly criticized player in American sports.
Well, look, being real, every coach in America would sign up to coach LeBron.
Of course.
So not every coach in America is saying I'm signing up for suicide, but they're also looking at a situation like, you give me the best chance. That's why I think we're on different sides of the same coin. Look, when you're lifting weights, they tell you to wait to a certain age to lift weights, right? Because you have to fully develop. The Clippers' winning culture, championship culture, I can't even say it, winning culture has not fully developed. So what you're not supposed to do is put weight on that situation because guess what? It's not ready for it. But that's what Ty Lue is in. He's not ready to really live in this reality of you do it, boom, or bust, brother. Where Frank Vogel's not in that. That's a fully mature situation. The Lakers have 16 and a half this year, don't count asterisk, 17 championships. LeBron James walked into the Lakers facility already a 3-time champion. Kyle Kuzma can go to a Laker game and they'll be like, what's Kuzma doing at a Clipper game? What is Kuzma doing at a Clipper game? Showing his ring that no one has ever attained that has wore a Clippers uniform. Not a single Clipper has a ring, but Kyle Kuzma does. We are talking about completely two different circumstances.
Let me lastly put this here because this is now diving into the weeds. I view higher stakes as what will it do for the trajectory of your life? I also view that like if you have this opportunity, it will either ruin the trajectory of your life or it will make the trajectory of your life. Coaching LeBron James has the highest stakes because of this last layer you and I haven't addressed, which is very simple. If you do that and succeed, you Gucci forever.
Yeah.
Meaning, Ty Lue, Without LeBron James, we have no idea who he is. But you came up, praised the hire yesterday. Analysts around the world are praising the hire. Everyone is ushering Ty Lue to be the first head coach whenever there's a vacancy. Why? Because of what he did with LeBron James. Erik Spoelstra, without LeBron James, he had won one playoff series prior to this year in 5 years. Hadn't made the playoffs for 2 consecutive years before LeBron James joined the Heat. But with LeBron James, Erik Spoelstra, he's genuinely considered one of the best coaches in the last 2 decades. He's up there with Pop and up there with Phil Jackson because he's won multiple titles along with Steve Kerr. Now look at Frank Vogel. He's in there with Coach of the Year conversations because he. So I say it's higher stakes because the last layer is very simple. The trajectory of your life. Make the parallel between being a skill player for the Cowboys. If you're a skill player for the Cowboys and you do that well, you're taken care of not only in football, but after you leave. Just look at analysts around the game. So that's why the stakes to me are higher with LeBron James teams, because the reward is extremely high, but the risk is high as well.
Yeah, but with that possible bump, I was a Dallas Cowboy. You get insane amount of criticism and compliments, but also the consequences come fast. And look, one and done, I was in Dallas. I would have pulled that same stunt other places. They would have hid me under the radar and said, we're going to keep Wiley around. Not in Dallas. You can't hide in futility. Look, he was hired in part because of what the relationship was with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and how he was able to mend that relationship. Whatever that was, he had the special sauce to keep those guys in line for as long as he did. Now, he was a guy that was with Doc Rivers. A lot of people push back on the hire. Why are you with Doc Rivers and you're going to hire his assistant? Sometimes being close to something but not in it is actually more valuable. How many times have you been the homeboy to your homeboy who's with somebody and you're like, look, come here. This is how you should handle this, man. But instead, he's too far in the forest to see the trees. He doesn't get it. I think that's why this is a special hire. Someone who saw the mistakes of Doc Rivers and could correct them by being so close to it.